Welcome back, chosen soul. If you are standing here today, it's because you have survived the fire. You've endured the isolation where the world forgot your name. And you've laid on the operating table while God performed surgery on your very soul. But now, the silence is over. It is time for the most violent, most satisfying phase of your journey, the divine recovery. Listen to me with your spirit. The enemy did not just take your money, your years, or your peace. He attempted to commit the ultimate crime. He tried to steal your identity. He wanted you to believe that you were a failure, a victim, and a lost cause. But there is a cold, celestial law that the kingdom of darkness is terrified of you discovering, the law of restitution. The divine statutes of the universe declare that when a thief is caught, he does not just return what was stolen, he must pay back sevenfold. You are not just going to get back to normal. Normal is for the people you left behind. You are about to receive an overflow of resources, time, and influence that will make your decades of struggle look like a tiny down payment on a massive inheritance. God is no longer just fixing your life, He is settling the score. Today, I am going to reveal the first 10 laws of supernatural recovery. We are going to reclaim your stolen years, your hijacked ideas, and your murdered joy. The season of being robbed is officially dead. The season of the Monarch's restitution has begun. Stand up and prepare your hands, for your inheritance is finally calling. Chapter 1. The Law of the Thief's Exposure, the Indictment. You cannot recover what you refuse to acknowledge was stolen. For years, you have played the role of the noble sufferer. You blamed bad luck, a bad economy, or your difficult upbringing for your lack. You walked around with a hole in your soul, calling it character building. But the divine recovery starts with a cold, ruthless realization. You were predatorially robbed. A spiritual force of darkness saw the king, or queen, in you long before you saw it in yourself. And it decided to strip you of your confidence, your resources, and your joy before you could ever use them to build your empire. The moment you stop calling your pain misfortune, and start calling it theft, the legal system of heaven is activated on your behalf. In this isolation, God has been giving you spiritual night vision. He is showing you exactly where the enemy broke into your life. Was it through that toxic relationship that stole 5 years of your youth and beauty? Was it through the friend who siphoned your $1 million idea while you weren't looking? Was it through a spirit of fear that paralyzed your tongue when you should have spoken? God is Vachamat, exposing the thief not to make you bitter, but to make you legalistic. In the kingdom, an exposed thief is a defeated thief. You are being rewired to stop crying over the spilled milk of your past and start issuing a divine subpoena. You are moving from a victim who was hurt to a prosecutor who is demanding full repayment with interest. The recovery does not begin with a humble prayer, it begins with a formal indictment. You are looking the enemy in the eye and saying, I know what you took. I know how you took it, and now, I am here to collect. Chapter 2. The Sevenfold Mandate, the Multiplication of Grief. There is a terrifying, mathematical power in the number 7 that the enemy hopes you never calculate. According to the divine statutes, when the thief is caught, he doesn't just return the original item, he must pay back sevenfold. This is the sevenfold mandate. It is the spiritual tax on darkness. This means for every single year you spent in the pit of depression, you are legally owed 7 years of supernatural, unshakable joy. For every dollar that was cheated from you by a corrupt system, you are owed $7 in divine increase. For every tear you cried in the midnight hour, you are owed 7 shouts of public triumph. Most people settle for restoration. They just want to be okay again. But okay is a peasant's goal. A monarch understands that every loss was actually an involuntary loan given to the enemy at a massive interest rate. God allowed the theft to occur because he knew that once the thief was caught, it would justify the supernatural multiplication of your life. You aren't just recovering your lost time, you are receiving compressed acceleration. God is going to pack 7 years of business growth into your next 12 months. He is going to give you a level of influence that should have taken a lifetime to build. You are being rewired to stop looking for a refund and start demanding restitution. The enemy thought he was destroying your future. But he was actually just setting up the biggest payday of your existence. Every scar on your soul is no longer a mark of shame, it is a legal claim for a sevenfold blessing. Do not accept a sorry when God has promised you a sovereignty. Chapter 3. The deletion of the worm, sealing the fortress. Have you ever felt like no matter how much you earn, the money just leaks away? Like there is an invisible, spiritual worm eating your harvest before you can even taste it? This is the spirit of the devourer. It is the thief that operates through unseen leaks, the sudden car repair that happens the moment you get a bonus, the unexpected health bill that drains your savings, or the friends who always have an emergency that requires your last $100. The divine recovery requires the immediate and violent deletion of the worm. God has isolated you to show you the holes in your spiritual fence. He is teaching you a hard truth. You cannot recover your wealth if your character is still full of leaks. The worm feeds on your lack of boundaries, your people-pleasing, and your slave loyalty to people who don't deserve your presence. This rewiring is about turning you into a fortress. God is cutting off the people who eat your time and the habits that eat your focus. The recovery of your assets is completely useless if you don't first recover your boundaries. Once the worm is deleted, you will notice a miraculous shift. Your little will stay in your hand, and your much will begin to compound. You aren't just getting a harvest, you are getting a fortified barn that the enemy can no longer penetrate. You are being trained to be a steward of millions, and that starts by killing the parasite that used to live in your pocket. The thief can no longer steal what you are finally brave enough to protect. Chapter 4. The Law of Compressed Time, Reclaiming the Wasted Years. The most painful theft you've endured isn't the money or the relationships, it's the time. You look at the calendar and feel a cold shiver of panic because you feel like you've lost 5, 10, or 20 years to trauma, wrong decisions, or people who didn't deserve a single second of your life. The enemy wants you to stay in the regret trap, believing that you are too late or that your prime has passed. But in the kingdom, time is not a straight line, it is a currency. And under the law of compressed time, God is about to perform a supernatural buyback of every lost moment. God is isolating you to teach you how to operate in quantum acceleration. When you are aligned with the divine, you stop moving at the speed of man and start moving at the speed of light. The law of compressed time means that God is going to pack a decade's worth of achievements into a single year. You are going to see businesses scale in months that should have taken years. You will see your health and vitality restored as if the wasted years never happened. You are being rewired to stop saying, "I'm behind," and start saying, "I am being propelled." The very years the locusts ate are being returned to you with heavy interest. Think of a slingshot. The further back you were pulled in the darkness, the faster and further you will be launched once the divine hand releases the tension. Your isolation was the pull back. Your recovery is the launch. You haven't lost time, you were merely in a time bank. And now you are making a massive withdrawal. Chapter 5. The hijacked idea recovery, collecting divine royalties. Have you ever seen someone else launch a business, write a book, or achieve a dream that you had years ago? You dismissed it as a coincidence. But the dark truth is that ideas are spiritual entities. And if you don't have the spiritual authority to protect them, they can be hijacked. There are people walking around today profiting from seeds that were planted in your spirit while you were too broken or too afraid to act on them. This is the hijacked idea theft. But here is the mystery of the monarch, under divine law. The copyright of heaven never expires. God is isolating you to give you the patents to the next level of your industry. The hijacked idea recovery means that God is not only going to give you new billion-dollar blueprints, but He is also going to transfer the value of what was stolen back to you through new, superior opportunities. You are being rewired to realize that the thief who took your idea only has the husk, but you still hold the source. God is about to give you a master key idea, a strategy so powerful and so unique that it will overshadow everything you thought you lost. You are being trained to stop mourning the stolen prototype and start building the kingdom monopoly. The wealth that was generated from your hijacked ideas is being funneled into a divine escrow account. and it will be released to you the moment your character is strong enough to hold the weight of the gold. Chapter 6. The Emotional Settlement, Recovering Your Divine Strength. The most silent and lethal form of theft is the theft of your peace. The enemy used chaos, betrayal, and constant crisis to keep your nervous system in a state of perpetual flight or fight. He wanted to steal your ability to sleep, your ability to trust, and your ability to feel joy. He wanted you emotionally bankrupt so that even if you had money, you wouldn't have the capacity to enjoy it. But today, the court is in session for your emotional settlement. God is isolating you to perform a deep tissue massage on your soul. He is pulling out the shards of trauma and the phantom pains of old betrayals. The law of emotional settlement states that the enemy must pay for every night of insomnia and every panic attack he caused you. How does he pay? Through the gift of divine equanimity. God is giving you a peace that is so thick and so heavy that nothing the world does can pierce it. You are being rewired to realize that happy is a peasant's emotion, but joy is a monarch's power. Your recovery isn't complete until you can look at the people who hurt you and feel absolutely nothing, no anger, no bitterness, just the cold realization that they were small actors in a large play. Your peace is being returned to you, but this time, it comes with guardians. You are recovering your emotional capital so that you can invest it in your empire instead of wasting it on your ghosts. The settlement is signed. Your heart is no longer a crime scene, it is a sanctuary. Chapter 7. The Ancestral Debt Cancellation, Breaking the Bloodline Bind. You have been fighting battles that didn't start with you. For years, you've felt an invisible ceiling over your finances and your relationships. A recurring pattern of almost making it, only to have it all fall apart at the last second. This is not a coincidence, it is ancestral identity theft. The enemy has been using a legal loophole in your bloodline, debts of fear, poverty, and compromise signed by those who came before you, to keep you in a spiritual prison. He has been charging you for the interest on debts you never personally signed. The divine recovery requires the violent cancellation of ancestral debt. God has pulled you into this isolation to serve as the legal representative of your family line. He is teaching you that you are the circuit breaker. Through this rewiring, the divine judge is tearing up the contracts of generational lack. You are being rewired to realize that you are not doomed to repeat the mistakes of your father or the struggles of your mother. The recovery starts when you stop identifying with the curse and start enforcing the new covenant. God is deleting the poverty DNA from your spirit and replacing it with a royal lineage. The enemy can no longer use your history to dictate your future. The debt is settled. The chains are broken. You are the first one in your bloodline to be truly free. And because of your recovery, the generations coming after you will never know the taste of the bread of sorrow. You are recovering the pure name of your family. Chapter 8. The Territorial Command, Reclaiming the Stolen Ground. There is ground that belongs to you, territories in business, influence, and authority that have your name written on them in the spirit realm. But while you were distracted by survival, the enemy allowed squatters to move in. People with less talent, less integrity, and less vision are currently sitting in the seats that were designed for you. They are occupying the market share, the platforms, and the positions of power that God intended for His chosen. This is the theft of territory. The law of territorial command states that when the rightful king returns, the squatters must flee. God is isolating you to train you in the art of spiritual warfare. He is teaching you that you don't compete for a market, you command it. The recovery of your territory isn't about asking for a seat at the table, it's about realizing the table is in your house. You are being rewired to walk into rooms with a territorial presence. When you speak, the atmosphere changes because you are no longer a guest, you are the owner. God is giving you the spiritual deeds to your industry. You are recovering the market share that was stolen while you were asleep. The squatters are being evicted by divine decree. Whether it is a physical location, a digital platform, or a position of leadership, the ground is shaking under the feet of those who are holding your place. Prepare for a hostile takeover, led by the hand of God. Chapter 9. The Law of the Spoils of War, Stripping the Enemy Bare. In ancient times, A victory wasn't complete until the victor took the spoils of war. This meant taking the gold, the silver, and the resources of the defeated enemy. The divine recovery does not just end with you getting your stuff back. It ends with you taking the enemy's wealth as a penalty for his transgression. This is the dark satisfaction of the chosen. Not only is the thief caught, but he is forced to fund your next level. The law of the spoils is active right now. God is using the very people who tried to destroy you to build the platform for your promotion. The resources that the wicked have been hoarding are being rerouted to you. This is why your isolation felt like a war zone, because it was. And in the kingdom, the winner takes all. You are being rewired to stop feeling sorry for the defeat of your enemies. When they fall, don't look away, look for the spoils. God is transferring the influence, the assets, and the connections of those who opposed you into your hands. This is the ultimate restitution. The enemy tried to use his wealth to silence you. Now, you will use his wealth to amplify the divine message. The recovery is so complete that you won't even remember the pain of the battle because you'll be too busy managing the booty of the victory. The thief isn't just paying you back, he is funding your empire. Chapter 10. The Monarch's full stature, the total reclamation. The battle is over, and the smoke is clearing. You aren't just standing, you are standing taller than you ever have before. This is the final law of the divine recovery, the Monarch's full stature. God didn't bring you through the isolation and the warfare just to give you back your old life. Your old life was too small for the person you have become. The recovery is only complete when you step into the fullness of your appointed authority. You have moved from survival to restoration, and finally to sovereignty. Every part of you that was broken has been fused back together with celestial gold. Your mind is sharper, your spirit is heavier with kavod, the weight of glory. And your hands are now skilled for ruling. The recovery is so total that when people look at you, they won't see a victim of tragedy, they will see a master of destiny. You are recovering your stature. You are walking with a regal frequency that demands respect from the physical world and obedience from the spiritual world. The thief has been caught. The sevenfold payment has been processed, and the spoils have been gathered. Now, the king is back on the throne, not to try to rule, but to reign. The recovery is finished. You are whole. You are powerful. You are home. The verdict is in. The thief has been caught. The restitution has been signed in the blood of the covenant. You came here feeling robbed, feeling late, and feeling broken, but you are leaving here as a prosecutor of the divine. The years you lost are being compressed into months of glory. The ideas they stole are returning with interest. The peace they tried to murder is now a fortress around your heart. You aren't just recovering, you are ascending. The era of not enough is buried. The era of struggle is dead. You are the monarch of your own reality. And from this second forward, nothing that belongs to you can stay in the hands of the enemy. The court of heaven is adjourned, and the execution of the blessing begins now. I want you to take the first step of your recovery right now. 1. Comment 7x recovery to trigger the law of restitution in your life. Declare that the thief must pay back everything he took, with interest. 2. Share this video with one person who has been robbed by life. Be the messenger of their restoration. 3. Subscribe and turn on the bell to join this elite circle of sovereigns. We don't just survive, we dominate. The enemy thought he had you. He was wrong. He just provided the seeds for your greatest harvest. Go forth and collect. The kingdom is yours. Amen.